Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Around the Emirates with Sarah. I'm here with a super familiar guest, my sister, Salma Mousa.
Great to be here.
So I wanted my sister to be on the show today to talk about her experience, especially in academia, and to share a little bit about her research especially. So Salma, tell me your background.
I grew up in Canada, in the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. I did my undergrad at Georgetown in Qatar, and then I did my PhD at Stanford in political science. And I'm now an assistant professor of political science at Yale.
Okay, so I'm hearing political science a lot. What got you into that?
I guess it's a way to make sense of different social dynamics in the world, and instead of just kind of living in the world and taking things for granted, it's a way to actually investigate why things happen and what effects certain policies can have. And the goal for me is to try to actually improve communities that I'm part of.
Okay, so it's not just for the research element of it, it's understanding why things have happened and how you can then use that to make a difference in your society, right?
That's my take on it. Some
Okay.
people like science for the sake of science or knowledge for the sake of knowledge, to just
Right.
know why things happen or to understand the world is the goal. But I like to try to take it one step further and use that information to actually do something.
I see, okay. And I understand that there's one specific research paper in mind that you've become relatively well known for in your circles, right?
I think are you talking about the Mohamed Salah paper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really fun project. So that's an example of kind of wanting to understand something in a more systematic way that you just see happening in the world. And so we saw, Mohamed Salah, this Liverpool player, he's obviously an amazing player and really popular, but has he had this broader effect on people's attitudes toward Muslims? So that was the question for us. And so can we use some tools and data to systematically answer these kinds of questions instead of just wondering about it?
Okay, and what were the results?
So we found that looking at hate crimes and hate speech, that exposure to Salah, which we measure as either living in the county of Merseyside or being a Liverpool fan, as opposed to living in other counties or being a fan of other top 5 clubs, that when we look at trends kind of before and after and compare across different groups, that exposure reduced hate speech and hate crimes
Really?
relative to what we would have expected based on trends among similar groups, so other fans or other counties.
Wow, that's incredible. And how long did that whole process take?
We started that project in 2018, and the paper was published a couple of months ago.
Wow, well, there you
So
go.
that's the academic process for you. That's the publishing process.
But I also understand that you had to travel internationally, right? To was what elements were taken into consideration when putting this together?
I didn't have to travel internationally.
No travel?
No.
But you had to work with international teams or anything?
No, actually, we were all, myself and my co-authors were based at Stanford at the time,
Okay.
so that was easy. Now we're all scattered, but the data that we got, we actually used the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, in the UK to request that data directly from police departments, so we didn't need to go anywhere for that. And then for the hate speech data, we scraped millions of tweets, so that you can do from your computer.
Wow. Okay, so what would you say was your biggest challenge in this process?
The biggest challenge, it's more on the statistics side. So for some of these analyses, you only have one group that is exposed. And so how can you make solid inferences when you only have kind of one treated unit,
Right.
as we say? The other challenge was getting the data from the police department. So by law, they have to respond to us, but there's no timeline, as I understand it. There's no incentive for them to respond quickly and give you the data in exactly the format that you
Right.
want. So you make the request, but you don't
You
know
get
what
lucky,
actually
kind
comes
of.
back. Yeah.
I see, okay. And is there anything kind of funny or weird that happened to you in this process that comes to mind?
I guess the weirdest thing, but in a cool way, was being asked to speak about the results for a documentary produced by UEFA. So that was really fun. The crew came to Stanford and they interviewed myself and my co-author. Well, that part is okay, but the cool part is they then put that in the documentary, and then it's people like Jose Mourinho and then me right afterwards, which was really funny for me to see, even though obviously I didn't meet those people, but yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I think they tweeted about it, right? I remember seeing it on their social media platforms too. That was really interesting. Okay, so obviously political science is a very difficult kind of industry to be successful in, and you've been, you've done your undergrad and now your PhD, and you've just now started to teach. So what would you say is like a message of kind of inspiration for people that are in the same industry?
Well, I don't know if it's inspiring, but if you have a real passion for understanding why things are the way they are, and you're interested in working with data for storytelling, then political science is a good field to be in. Academia, I don't know if I would recommend it. It's a very weird field, and it takes a lot of sacrifice, to get there. But a PhD, I mean, if you just like learning and you have questions that you're genuinely interested in answering and no one has answered them in a satisfactory way for you and you want to answer them yourself, then a PhD is maybe one route for you. Okay.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on my show. I definitely think that we learned a lot, especially like the way that you broke down political science. I never thought of it that way, of like collecting data to tell a story. So I think that's really cool. I also hope that Mohamed Salah one day recognizes your contributions to Egypt.
Yes, I hope so too.
Well, thank you. And as you guys know, there's a new episode out every other weekend. And if there's any kind of questions, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.